It's just such a wild feeling to finally be out here. I've been planning this hike for 6 years, and just 3 weeks ago I quit my job. I sold my house less than 48 hours ago. I closed on my house, and now I'm out here. Now I'm walking through the desert in New Mexico. How cool is that?
And it's been a lot of road walks so far. I think the first 2 or 3 miles were all actually on trail, and then you hit this road. It's getting towards the end of day 1 here. It'll be about 15 miles. And today was pretty flat, actually. Not too hard, pretty rocky. Had a bit of a blister on one of my toes that I taped up.
Well, it's morning day 2. Survived the first night. Just barely. There was some sort of animal in camp. I've never heard this kind of animal before. It was making some weird growling noise, kind of like a raspy cat sort of kind of sound, but not like a cat. Hard to describe. Anyways, I lived. I still can't get over the feeling of just how much adventure lies ahead. I mean, my longest hike before this was 10 days. This is my first through hike. But I do consider myself an experienced backpacker. I've probably got about 150 nights backpacking experience under my belt prior to coming out. So I feel pretty well prepared in terms of gear and experience and everything like that. My main concerns are more or less just long-term threats of injury and really the mental challenges of just the hike wearing on you, I guess, after a couple of months.
These are the Little Hatchet Mountains, and I've been following these all day, maybe 7, 8, 9 miles. And there's basically an intermittent trail, and at the moment, I don't see it.
Well, as you can see, I got quite a bit of dirt here in my shoes and my socks, and that's basically why you get blisters. So I'm going to clean them up and get back at it. Wow, look at this primo water source. I think I'll pass. This is the tent I'm going to be using out here. It's a tarp tent notch. Weighs in at 32 ounces, which includes the Tyvek ground sheet, stakes, stuff sack, and all the guy lines. Well, I just got in my tent here. Take my shoes off, have a look at my feet.
And I got a bit of a heat rash or something going on here. That's been covered up all day with my pants, so I don't know why that's like that. And actually, my toes don't look too bad.
So I set up my tent last night, and then about 20 minutes later, Forrest and Sequoia showed up, and they joined me in that site. And they had said about 20 minutes earlier they saw a Gila monster right along the trail. Oh look, a prickly pear cactus. I know what you're capable of.
after many, many miles of walking on a dirt road, it finally got an actual trail to follow again. And if you could see up in the distance there, it looks like to be a windmill. And I think that's supposed to be a reliable water source. Typical desert water source, a shitload of bees. And a shitload of shit.
Thank you, Rancher. I love it. Sincerely, Rancher. It's all hot stuff.
This desert is stupid. They need to put a drinking fountain out here. Yeah, or like a 7-Eleven or something.
Hiked about 15 miles so far this morning. It's about 12:30, and just found this tree. And basically the first shade I found all day. Probably hit it again in a couple hours, so just really thankful for this tree. Sit here and maybe even catch a nap.
So the CDT passes through a lot of BLM land in this area, and to my understanding, the way that works is the government owns the land, the ranchers want to use that land, they lease it from the government, and we're allowed to be on it because it's technically still public land. Morning day 4. No tire water for me today. I've been pretty lucky. I've been able to just bounce from water cache to water cache and not had to mess with really any water filtering so far. I took the shuttle from Lordsburg down to the border of Mexico by the CDT coalition, and when you pay for that shuttle you also get 5 water caches, and these caches are basically a bear box, and it's near some type of dirt road where a person can come by every so often and stock them with water. So I've just been taking my 5 liters or so out of that water at every cache for the day and not had to mess with any water filtering so far.
No, that's not acceptable. I just bring them out here to piss everybody off.
Look at what you cannot have. So that's your tent?
It will be, yeah.
So I just had my first trail magic experience. There's a guy named Apple out basically on the top of this little hill not too far from a road. He hauled up a cooler full of water and chairs and this weird jungle gym thing that he was going to turn into a tent for shade later on. It's a little bit early in the morning for that right now, but really, really cool to see things like that. I'm just not used to having that kind of random generosity in my life, so kind of restores your faith in humanity to a little bit, and I'm looking forward to more of that on trail.
You think it's that way?
We got it. This one, guys. Yeah.
Whoa, it's a lot of bones. I don't think he made it.
Literally straight ahead though.
Well, this is pretty much the only shade I've seen all day, so it's the obvious place to stop for a break. How's it look? Yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad. It's a little green, but It'll do.
Just filled up some water here from this spigot, which is actually clean water compared to the tank over there where the cows drink from. So they get their water and I get my nice clean water out of this spigot. Yeah, it looks like I got a bit of heat rash going on here. How you doing, buddy? Not much of a talker, are you? All right, I'll leave you to it. We got about a 4-hour walk and I'll hit my first town, Lordsburg. And I'm pretty excited to get some hot food and a shower. But overall, I feel pretty good. Just gonna walk by you now. You're gonna taste real good someday. Eat that grass. It's gotta be the most ghetto looking pen I've ever seen. Looks like they just raided a scrapper's truck. Well, you can tell we're getting pretty close to Lordsburg now. All the CDT signs have been shot up and there's piles of garbage everywhere. So, yeehaw.
All right, first view of Lordsburg. A couple more hours, I'll be eating cheeseburgers and hopefully getting clean. Well, I'm not going to say this last section was amazing or anything, but I always hear hikers talking about how terrible it is, but it wasn't that bad, it wasn't that hard. And honestly, I'm just so damn happy to be out here on the CDT. It's just, I don't know how you don't end this section with a smile on your face.